We used to think danger had a shape, a stranger at the door, a knock in the dark, something we could see coming. But now, it hides in plain sound. Every clip we upload, every voicemail we leave, every video call we make becomes something that can be learned, copied, and reused. We call it sharing. We call it staying close. But underneath those words is something quieter and colder. A society addicted to visibility has made even our most private moments public property. Social media didn't just connect families, it archived them. Every laugh, every story, every voice recorded online is stored somewhere, waiting to be replayed. And for one grandmother in Ontario, that archive came back to life one morning in a way she could never have imagined. Welcome to Filtered Society, where inequality meets social media. If you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, please subscribe. It was calm outside, sunlight spilling across the kitchen counter, the kettle beginning to boil. When the phone rang, she almost ignored it. The number on the screen wasn't familiar, but it carried the same 3-digit prefix as her grandson's town. Out of habit, she picked up. At first, all she heard was breathing, shallow and uneven. Then, a voice broke through, trembling. "Grandma, it's me. Please don't tell anyone. I'm in trouble." She felt her chest tighten. The cadence was exact. The same soft Ontario accent. The same little pause he always made before saying her name. He said he'd been driving home from work when the crash happened. That a woman had been hurt. That police had him in custody. She could hear fear in his words, the kind that turns the air electric. Before she could ask questions, another voice slid onto the line. It was deeper, measured, almost soothing. "Ma'am, I'm his lawyer," the man said. "Your grandson is being held, but we can arrange immediate release if bail is paid within the hour." The instructions came quickly, like a script already rehearsed. She was to withdraw $21,000 in cash, keep it secret, and wait for a courier to collect it. He warned her not to mention it at the bank, said the court needed privacy to protect her grandson's case. The call ended, leaving only the sound of her own heartbeat in the quiet kitchen. She didn't hesitate. Fear drowned logic. She grabbed her purse, the keys, and drove through town as if in a trance. At the bank, fluorescent lights hummed overhead. She told the teller she needed a large withdrawal for a home repair. The teller nodded and counted the bills in neat mechanical stacks. When the cash touched her hands, it felt heavy, thicker than she remembered money feeling. On the drive back, she kept checking the rearview mirror, half expecting police lights, half praying for none. Minutes after she pulled into her driveway, her phone rang again. The same calm voice. "The courier's close," he said. "He'll identify himself at your address. Don't worry, this will all be over soon." A dark sedan rolled up moments later, engine idling. The driver wore gloves, a medical mask, and dark glasses that hid his eyes. He stepped out only far enough to hold out a small cardboard box. She placed the envelope inside, her fingers shaking, and he sealed it with a strip of tape. "Thank you, ma'am," he said quietly, then turned away. The sound of tires on gravel faded into stillness. She stood at the window, staring at the empty street, trying to steady her breathing. The kettle she'd left on the stove had gone cold. Outside, sunlight glowed on the lawn as if nothing had happened. But inside, the air felt wrong, thick, suspended. Every tick of the clock seemed to echo. She told herself she'd done the right thing, that her grandson would call soon, that this would all make sense. But the phone stayed silent. That night, the phone rang again. This time, her daughter's voice on the line, confused and alarmed. "Why were you trying to reach him all day?" she asked. The grandmother hesitated. She could barely get the words out. The accident, the bail, the lawyer. On the other end, her daughter fell silent. Then came the words that made the world tilt. "He's fine. He's been at work all day." The truth settled slowly, like cold air filling a room. There had been no accident, no arrest, no lawyer, only a voice that wasn't real. When police arrived that evening, they told her she wasn't the only one. Nearly every detachment in Ontario had taken similar calls that week. By the end of the month, at least 8 families across Canada and the United States had fallen victim to the same setup, collectively losing more than $200,000. The pattern was identical: a familiar voice, an urgent story, and a demand for immediate cash. Victims were ordered to withdraw their savings, wrap the bills in envelopes, and hand them off to couriers who disappeared before anyone could ask questions. Others were told to wire money through cryptocurrency exchanges or send electronic transfers overseas, transactions that vanished in minutes, unrecoverable by banks or law enforcement. Investigators from the RCMP and the FBI compared notes and realized the calls were coming from the same organized fraud networks operating out of multiple countries. The voices, they said, were synthetic, generated by artificial intelligence software trained on short public clips taken from Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. A birthday greeting, a graduation post, a holiday video. 5 seconds of sound was all it took. With that, the system could mimic tone, pitch, and even breathing, the small imperfections that make a voice feel human. "It's not a recording," one officer told reporters. "It's a recreation." By the time authorities traced the trail, the money was already gone, laundered through cryptocurrency wallets and prepaid transfer services that left no usable paper trail. Police called it one of the first large-scale AI voice cloning fraud operations in North America, warning that it marked the beginning of a new kind of crime, one that doesn't need breaking in, only imitation. For the grandmother, the loss went deeper than numbers. She said she could still hear the voice when the house got quiet. The same cadence, the same pleading tone, looping through her memory. Detectives told her she wasn't at fault, that hundreds of others had been targeted, that she had simply been one of the first. But guilt has a way of echoing longer than reason. What she'd lost wasn't just her savings, it was her sense of reality. The idea that voices meant truth. Within days, the story spread nationwide. CBC and Global News ran headlines. American networks picked it up. The FBI released public warnings urging families to create safe words to verify calls. The RCMP reminded citizens to question even the familiar. But online, the story took on a life of its own. Clipped, shared, edited, and buried between advertisements for the same technology that made it possible. Because that's what happens online. Even fear becomes content. And what happened to those families wasn't just a scam. It was a glimpse into what trust looks like after automation. How privacy dissolves not with a bang, but with a ringtone. In the digital age, even love can be copied, monetized, and turned against the people who gave it meaning. The next time a phone rings, the voice you hear might sound like someone you trust. But trust, like truth, doesn't sound the way it used to.